I don't know if it's even going the right direction or.
Well, it's not pointing you, it's pointing at the.
Well, I'll get up the original.
So, there you go. It's
All right,
going.
thanks. All right, guys, so this is part of the 301 training and professional development. It's dealing with thinking maps again. So we've gone over a few of them. We're going to cover about 3 more today and try to make it as simple and painless as possible. So the last time we were in here, we went over the bubble map and the flow map. And so today we're going to go over the tree map, multi-flow map, and the bridge map. Okay, so that's why I kind of want you with departments, so you kind of work together on some ideas. Okay, so just a quick review of what thinking maps are all about and why they seem to work. They're based on 8 visual patterns, which are based on just basic fundamental thinking processes such as defining, describing, comparing, contrasting, sequencing, identifying the whole part relationships, compare and contrast, cause effects, analogies, etc. Those are your 8 visual patterns and thinking processes. It says these patterns are used individually and in combination across every grade level and every curriculum, and they're just a set of tools for lifelong learning. I'm going to kind of show you some examples of what my kids are doing just to get ready for their quarterly exams in a minute, and just all I do is give them a list of terms and say this is what you need to know, and they work as a group, and it took them 3 days to do this, but that's how they studied for their final. So I'm just going to kind of hold them up real quick to some examples. So this was their second quarter review, and I just gave them again what they need to know, gave them some ideas of some thinking maps they could use, but they weren't limited to them, and so they already know all 8 patterns, and they already know the thought process behind them, so they kind of chose what they did. And again, as I said, it took them 3 days, and then I asked them, because sometimes you get packets, I asked them what they thought about doing it this way, and if they thought it helped them. I don't think I had anybody in the final exam less than an 86%. And the whole time they're doing, they're like, this is really making me think it through. This is really helping me. So just as an example, once they know all of these patterns, I mean, there's some bridge maps on here. There's some different, higher level ones on here. They just went with it. So it's kind of neat to see the freedom that they take. Once you give them what they need to know, what they do with it. These are some of the higher level kids, but it's really pretty awesome to see what they came up with. They're all about the same, so just thought I'd show you. So there's a lot of those 8 patterns represented in their review, so kind of showing you what you could do with it. As far as thinking maps go, again, we talked about the visual patterns. It says used in combinations for depth and complexity, which you can kind of see that, used by all teachers in all content areas, and again, based on those 8 cognitive skills, so that's kind of repetitive. Why do they work? It says our ability to learn visually is greater than any of our other senses. It says about 80% of all we take in our brain is based on visual, things that we take in visually. And it's a common visual language that classrooms use and whole schools can use. There are thinking map schools, which we're trying to become one, but they just use them all across the board. The whole school is committed to it. It's kind of cool. So I'm going to start off with the tree map. It's pretty basic. It's pretty easy to do. A tree map is basically for classifying information based on similar characteristics, qualities, attributes, details. So the key words that go with the flow map are classify, sort, group, categorize, identify main ideas, supporting details, give sufficient related details, and a kind of taxonomy. So if you're a science teacher, that should sound familiar. Some examples of some tree maps. I know I'm going kind of fast. Here's one for math, deal with properties. Science pictures are kind of fun on tree maps. It doesn't always have to be words. It can definitely be illustrations, which makes it kind of fun for the kids who like to do that. Then with social studies, some figurative language. You can see it doesn't have to be a big to-do. It can be something you put up in the front of your room, kind of go outlining it as the kids give you information. Author's purpose. Good science, inherited traits versus learned traits. Again, dealing with measurement, math, science also as well. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have you make one about yourself so that everybody can get a piece of paper out off the table. If there's not enough, let us know. I'm going to give you a topic. I'm going to show you an example. So you're going to create a tree map classifying your favorite things in life. Your favorite things. So it's always best when you start teaching thinking math to your students that you start off with something on the personal level so they can relate to it. So some of my favorite things, I started with food or beverages. I love pizza, cheesecake. That's a drink of some sort. Favorite activity, or my favorite activity is dancing, hanging with my boys, music. I'm old, so AC/DC. I'm also getting into country, Jason Aldean. I did add a frame of reference to this thinking map, and I referenced things that influenced my decisions on my favorite things. So I saw him in concert, so that made me kind of like his music. I love eating at the Red Onion, so some of their food, I would be listing if I kept going. As far as activities, one of my favorite pastimes is obviously hanging out with my boys, so I kind of put playing basketball or throwing a baseball with my boys is always the best times for me. So at the end of your map, you're going to include a frame of reference listing some influences on your favorite things. Does that make sense? What influenced your choices? Okay. So you can choose any of your favorites. You can choose how many categories you want. If you only want to do 2, if you want to do 5. That's what a thinking map is all about. You don't give them a template. They draw up their own. And they come up with however many categories they can kind of. Not really. Go ahead and think about it. Again, your categories do not have to match mine. Your favorite things could be other things. It doesn't have to be about food. It doesn't have to be about activities.
And then the columns don't have to have the same amount.
No, they don't have to. That's a good question. They don't have the same amount. You might have a lot more favorite beverages than music, or vice versa, or whatever categories you choose. There's never a certain amount that you tell them to do. That's the powerful thing about thinking map. They think and think and think and add on and add on and add on, and so they can't think anymore. Another minute, and then we're going to have you kind of share at your table. Don't forget your frame of reference around it. When you're done, no rush. What are some influences that kind of guided you towards these favorite things? It doesn't have to be something that they're a little phrase or two, or one name or okay. Does anybody like more time? Yes, okay. If you are all finished, you can kind of talk about yours. I'm going to take a mic up the people that are kind of struggling.
Like what influences? Sorry.
Influences are listed.
What kind of music would Sinatra be? What's that considered?
Like oldies, but not oldies, because I think oldies like 60s.
What music would that be? What categories like Sinatra? What categories like Sinatra?
Yeah, too.
Well, because my taste is so eclectic, I have hip hop, Beastie Boys, and Rat Pack.
Right. No, I know
How do you? I mean, that's me. Like
That's kind of what I was
AC/DC. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
all different kinds.
that's why when you said your role, I was like, you're like, I would be on my list.
But there's a kid, hardly get it, kids in my first period that are putting a band together. And the one song that they are doing is Back in Black.
Oh my
That's
god.
the only song they're playing right now.
Well, you know, they come back. Good songs are good songs. No matter when you're playing.
It's so funny. Sheila, you know anything else?
And so did yours.
It's a mess.
I'm serious. I know it's like the biggest thing in your brain right now. But
I don't know what my brain right now.
listen to him.
I
He
can't
talks
think
about
very well
it.
when my head's this high.
All right, guys.
I was stunned. Kids were asleep.
Ollie, out here, please. Thank you. So again, you're welcome to share at your table. I want to lead you to your next table. Some people are sitting and done and waiting. What you're going to do, and this is why we wanted you to kind of sit with your department, is you're supposed to talk about or brainstorm with your group. What are some topics that you could possibly use treatment on, or maybe you could use it in your content area? So just give a minute or so and kind of bounce off of that a little bit.
I've seen you use one. You were doing that. You were doing for the college and stuff, right?
I never do it. I don't really do that much, so I'm not really comfortable.
I did race maps before, which is like a sideways teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just did the brace map, and it was fun. I liked it. Other than like trying to get them to like make sure that they follow all the way to the left, how they position and interact with it needs to be
I just gotta get more comfortable with it.
It's easy to like. I feel like it's easy when you probably don't mess with it, but atoms, so easy. Atoms.
Yeah, absolutely. And then
Positive
electrons,
charges.
positive charges.
So yeah.
I know.
Easy concept.
It's true. Probably should have done it.
Yeah.
Looking back now.
See, and that's the thing, because we have to really, like have a program on it, so that you guys supposed to.
Well, and we don't have a lot of those conversations. Like, you're sitting here talking about it now, but we can talk about that stuff in the planning.
Exactly.
I get it via email, but I don't ever use it. Like if I even get it electronically. Yeah, but this year, like, I'm just trying to make it here. Because in terms of content, if you would have asked me 15 weeks ago, hey, what's all this stuff? I'd be like,
I know, me too.
I don't know. I have to
Me too. I've been like
relearn this.
looking up
So-
and looking at everything, and then I get a lot of information from my teammates. I'll ask questions, but then I have questions in class. I'm like, give me a minute.
My kids just yesterday, they were like, at least you don't lie to us. I was like, what do you mean? They're like, a lot of teachers just sit there and make something up. They're like, you just tell us, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know anything. I'm like, I don't know all the answers.
Yep, that's what I
It's
told
8th grade
my
science, I'm not a professor of physics. I have no clue what you're talking about. Why do we have to write the equation like this? Because that's what I saw, so that's how I did it. Just follow this pattern. Don't ask me any questions about it. Do it
There's
this way.
tons of examples on the internet. If you're struggling right now, someone has their phone with them, you could definitely jump on there. There's tons of examples of how you can use this in a class. Any questions, guys, about the tree map? I know that was pretty short, simple, but definitely know that you can ask questions. Good to go? Thank you. I'm gonna put it on. Okay, the next map that we're going to talk about today is called the bridge map. And you can see it's used for identifying similarities between relationships, and it's also used for creating analogies. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing with this thing. Oh no. Oh, I know. You should have seen me struggle before everyone got in here.
It's like backwards.
Thank you.
So which one are we pressing?
The opposite side. Opposite. There we go. Okay. Keywords related to the bridge map. Identify the relationship, guess the rule, symbolism, metaphor, allegory, analogy, and simile. So you can see that it lends itself quite easily to English language arts, but obviously there's relationships in every content, so it's not just ELA. Okay. All right, so this is what a bridge map looks like. You can see that it gets its name as a bridge map basically from this little kind of triangle there. That's the bridge. And so the bridge connects the first pair to the second pair. And you always are going to have a relating factor, which is going to be off to the left of the bridge. And the bridge, this is just a simple example, but I mean, it can go on forever and ever and ever, depending on how many pairs you might have. Your relating factor is going to be a similar phrase that fits both sides of the analogy. Right now, you might be thinking, oh, this is like in math, what? Well, an equation or a ratio, so you could say proportion and stuff. So it's kind of similar in that way as well. Okay. Let's look at some examples. Oh, I keep doing that. It's so opposite. Did it? Okay. Oh, thank you. Okay. Okay. All right. We shouldn't have two things. Okay. So this is a really simple one, but now you can see what a relating factor might look like. Here the relating factor is a type of. Okay. So you could say an apple is a type of fruit as a carrot is a type of vegetable. So you see the similarity there. You see the analogy. Okay. Is there a question? No. Okay. Here's another one, social studies. And you can see that you can, of course, like any of our maps, incorporate illustrations or pictures. Here the relating factor was governed by. So you could say Mexico was governed by Spain as the United States was governed by Great Britain. And then we could just keep going on and on. Like I said, it's not limited to just one or two. We could continue on with more and more countries. Okay, how are fine arts alike? So the relating factor here is create. So artists create paintings, as musicians create songs, as authors create stories, and we could just continue on. What was that?
Sculptors make
Sculptors make sculptures, create sculptures. Yes, you could just go on and on. So it's the list is endless. Here you go. Here's some math. This is what we actually call a fat bridge. We have regular bridges and then we have fat bridges. And we see the fat bridge more so in the lower grades, kindergarten, first, second, because sometimes it's difficult with their motor skills, and so it seems like it's easier for them if they have the fat bridge, because then they can just put that relating factor right there for them as well, so it's right there. So you would say fraction is another name for percent. as 3/5 is another name for 60%. So that's a nice way to get your students to be, thinking outside the box. It's also, if Larry was here, I know that one of the things he's always talking to the math department is about getting that math talk going. This would be a great way to encourage that math talk in the classroom. Here's a science example. The relating factor is powers, and they've used illustrations again. So you've got mitochondria powers a cell, as a fuse box powers a house. Okay. This one is showing antonyms, and a lot of people when they first start working with the bridge map, they struggle with it. They're not sure, like, how should I use it? And what I've discovered works the best, at least for me and my students, is to use it with vocabulary terms and have them identify synonyms and antonyms, those types of relationships. So, for example, this one says, these are all words from the play Romeo and Juliet. So, divine is an antonym for relating factor, as garrulous is an antonym for silent, as impetuous is an antonym for cautious. I went ahead and I added my frame of reference, which I said, how do I know this information? Where did I get this new knowledge? So, it would be from reading the play Romeo and Juliet. I know the meaning of these words from the story we read in class. You can see that this could be a good way to do like a quick formative with your students as well. If you wanted to, you could give them the antonyms, and then they would have to plug in the key vocabulary terms, from the text. And you could do that really quickly on a whiteboard, and you could see which things were getting that information and which were not. Okay, so your assignment is to create a bridge map to show a relationship. And I started the map for you just because I thought it would be a little bit easier. So I gave you your relating factor is known for, and the first part is Larry Fitzgerald. So I would say Larry Fitzgerald is known for,
Cardinals player.
well, I would probably say is known for making touchdowns or whatever, okay? You can put whatever you want. And then,
Far beyond my knowledge base.
there you go. As, and so on, and so on, and so on. And it doesn't have to be football. It doesn't even have to be sports. We could say, I could put, Gordon Ramsay is known for yelling at people. Okay. As Julia Child is known for. Okay. So go ahead and create your bridge map for me, please.
I didn't take a purple.
Sometimes I do. With my students, I usually will give them. There was a question over here. Sue asked, do I usually not give the relating factor? With my kids, they need that extra little bit of help, so I usually give them that relating factor. But if it's up to you and how well you know your students. And so you can or not, it's really up to you. Like I said, with mine, I think it helps them to have that relating factor there. And then also add a frame of reference to your map to show how you know the information on your map.
I would science. Just because I'm
Very nice. I just feel like you could just be making right
Stephen King.
I love this. That's beautiful. I'm the hyper.
How do I look at this? This is where I'm stuck on the label. Get this.
Try to compare the two.
Yeah, that's subatomic particles. Would this be subatomic particles with charge?
No, you don't have to write anything down there. It's just is known for. That's the relating factor. So is known for.
So I just write it.
Photon is known for being positive. Or no. Charge is known as
Subatomic charges.
We got authors. Let's see.
Yeah, sometimes I use this in an opposite way. Sometimes I have this part filled out, and as a formative, they use whiteboards and they tell me the relating factor. So you can do it opposite too if you don't want to take up a lot of time. Just a quick review. You can fill in the bridge map for them and leave the relating factor out, and that's part of your formative. They quickly show you how they know they're related. That works really quick too on a whiteboard.
Okay, and then last thing is just with the people at your table, take a moment just to think about how you could use this in your content area. Just take about 1 minute, generate some ideas.
How would you do it with the elements in the compounds?
Elements, compounds, what about them? What I do with them?
How could you use that with elements and compounds?
Oh. An element is a single atom, is a compound.
So it would be the relating factor.
Oh, you know what? I did that the same.
Number of atoms.
Yeah, composition. So number of atoms.
Okay, any questions about the bridge map? No questions about bridge map? Okay, pass it on.
Two or more atoms, right?
Two more different atoms.
Okay, I have to go really slow. Mr. Piper, perfectly. I have to go really slow because we have 30 minutes left. And they went really fast. Would y'all like to sing and dance? Okay. I'll show ya. Okay, constructing a multi-flow map. Multi-flow map is used by students for illustrating and analyzing and cause and effect relationships. In the center, what? I don't talk about, okay, in the center rectangle, write an important event that occurred. On the left side of this event, you're going to write the causes. And on the right side, you're going to write the effects. And then you're going to add arrows pointing up.
Uh-oh.
Thank you. I did a Rachel. She did a Rachel.
That was me.
Sorry. And on the arrows pointing to the right to show how the causes lead it. Sorry. Add arrows pointing to the right to show how the causes lead into the event and how the effects come out of the event. And the key words for the double bubble maps are causes and effects, discuss the consequences, what would happen if and then, predict, describe the change, identify the motivation behind, identify the results of, and what happened because of. Did I changed it. And you didn't change it on mine. I'm sorry. I thought I was bringing this multi-flow. Okay, the multi-flow helps. Did you see that mistake? It said double bubble.
Yeah.
Okay. But I had changed it, but y'all didn't. I didn't send. I thought I was bringing the flash drive, and no, I didn't send it to you. The correct version. Okay. The multi-flow map helps students identify the causes and effects of an event. When constructing the map, always focus first on the event. The causes and effects do not have to balance. Students may also construct a one-sided multi-flow. So that's, you know, you can only do one side causes and or one side effects. You don't have to do both sides. What are the causes and effects of this event? Where did you get your information? Oh, okay, let me go to the next. So this is what it looks like. And the causes go on this side, of course, your event goes in the middle, and then the effects over there. And the arrows need to make sure that they're all pointing to the causes need to be pointing to the event this way, and of course they need to go pointing that way. Are y'all laughing at me? Okay. Okay. All right, so here's an example of one. This one says I received M3 players for the classroom. Here's your causes over here and your effects over there. Here's little kids pictures. Yeah, let's just take our time and read this.
My mom took me to the what? The zoo? Let's say zoo.
No, I listened to this paper, I worked hard on the test, I studied at home. I made a good grade on the test. So the effects can be, I am proud, my mom took me to the zoo. Oh,
I'm glad I read that. Oh, okay.
I personally like the pictures.
Yeah, the pictures are great.
that's so cute.
So we're going to create a multi-flow map. Mine's a little bit harder. What is something you want to improve? That's your question to think about. So you're going to write this goal in the center of your paper and draw a box around it. And then you're going to write your causes on the, if you're looking at your paper on the left side, and the effects on the right side. So what is something you want to improve in the middle? Like I want to go to college and become a teacher. Not really. It's just already a teacher. You gotta have a different goal. It has to be for an event. So you get that. The center box it doesn't necessarily have to be a goal. It could be any type of event that is currently happening. This is no, it doesn't have to be a goal. This is just what I'm asking you to do for your assignment. It has to be an event though. Industrial Revolution. That's an event. Yeah. What were the causes? What were the effects? My assignment for you is for pretend is what is something you want to improve? I want to improve.
I wrote attendance, so I suck at it.
What causes that you want to improve this?
I'm really bad.
Yeah, it has to be square. I guess it has to be a square. Does it have to be square? No, just have to be square.
I want to decrease my debt.
I guess a little bit.
With you on both. Anybody got any white out? It's like a lot of paper. Oh, there's my paper. I was trying.
So they have to be going to the event, and then they have to be going away from the event. Yeah. But I mean, if you want to, draw. You got it. This is where you.
Okay, so how do I get better at attendance?
Take your
And take your time, please.
No, we're still making
Anybody need more paper?
Yeah, I haven't done that since my first
No, I think yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
Well, she already hit the boxes for us, so I don't really use this.
You should never draw your boxes first.
See, I got you. Oh.
You should always write your information and then put your boxes around that information, because you limit yourself when you write your information, when you write your boxes first, and then you feel like you have to fill in that box. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes. Kids can't wrap.
Grades or goodbyes? I have a student who's like you.
Ironically, it's also the overall.
Really? Hey, sometimes it's tough love. I wrote a few, I feel like the hard. After I found out you had like the title for writing the most, I was like, I'll never catch her. I'll start writing them.
Well, like 25 for like first quarter.
I probably have about
All first and second.
probably like close to 10.
I haven't written very many. That was after she told me I had my only 10-minute was meeting in.
Yeah.
Was disciplined because she thought that, you know, having the highest number of girls must say something about kids.
Yeah, you got bad classroom makeup.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what else to do. Okay, I can figure out whether or not time management or classroom management. Too many things to complete. I feel like I'm rushing.
I wish I would have done this. Can I borrow that? I really like to use color. I don't like just black and white. I like to make it start over.
Like taking this really serious. I'm trying to figure out what the best of you are. Yeah, you know.
Your frame of reference is up here whenever you get to it.
Carrie, there's your frame of reference.
Think about your prior knowledge and experiences of setting goals and reaching them. Write those down.
That was pretty good. I gotta give her that one. I have to give her that one.
You're supposed to write ideas about how you previously achieved goals.
I do. Alright.
True story. Hashtag true. Hashtag science.
Are our phrases and references now hashtags? Yes. Okay. Maybe
We do a lot of hashtags in my classes.
I know it's a conversation.
Can't think of a goal.
I've never succeeded in one.
Pick one, girl. Make it easy.
How's it going over here? Exercise. Put down.
I'll do the seating chart. It's like, oh, that's
So bad. Because last week sit down. One of the mistakes that I make is that I don't do it in the first half hour. Because they do forward and I talk to them and then we discuss forward and then we start the lesson and then it's like 45 minutes later they're finally working by themselves like open sentence.
I just kind of do it when
Because you're better at classroom management.
I don't agree with that. I have to have routine or else things go.
Routine. Hashtag routine.
No.
Hashtag Andrea.
What are you doing now? You guys want to my own.
Yours is illogical. You need more chocolate.
More chocolate.
Come see the I'm gonna settle this table down here. Talk with you guys.
This is Heather's table making all that noise.
She tried to say
What's this called? A multi.
and then I said it increases health, not fat. Because one right? Chocolate. I bought my
I'll
mom.
probably keep these and look at these and use these.
Look at those ones.
Just like keep them by my desk and remember like, don't be an idiot and use these today so my kids can learn. But like, how long is it going to take a class? 6 minutes?
On the kids.
What do you tell her? Jump in and try to get class going. Yeah, I know.
But I feel like for science, it's very limited. Like those things are like chemical reactions.
Right.
You have like one thing going in and one coming out. They're not all going to be related. It's not the same reaction each way. So it's like, I can just think of like individual ideas where this works, but trying to do it, I don't know, I'd have to work until I get the practice.
I know, just like I did a Venn diagram instead of double. Stuff like that. You know, I mean, I get it, I understand it, but I want to
Would anybody like to share? We don't have a document. Would anybody like to share? Did anybody have any questions? Then just feel free to mingle with your peoples. And we're done. Right? No, you can't leave. You must stay to 4:30. But why don't you just converse about Mickey Mouse and how much you love him?
Love them.
Love them. Love them so much. I wish them more.
Okay.
With what you said about maybe in the spring, about everybody saw the food group agreement?
Yes, in March.
Okay, so here's the thing though. If we proposed the idea, and Mary Jo was going to check on it, of using that hour that we're gonna have to stay from 3:30 to 4:30, because we have to be here till 4:30, she said, for flipping group. So the 3:30 to 4:30 part could count as this. But then we can't leave early on that next day, because if we're taking comp time for that hour, it can't be a 3-1. See what I'm saying?
No.
We can't, the flipping group, she asked us to stay till 4:30 for it anyway.
And this is in March.
March.
We can still leave
Remember, we have to do an hour in the spring. So if we stay, if they let us,
No, we don't have conferences then.
We always have
well,
conferences
she was
before
gonna let us
spring
go.
break.
Email said that if we stay till 4:30, she'd let us go on Friday. She said she'd let us go.
The email said.
We do have conferences every year.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just thinking,
We do?
I don't know what parents are gonna feel about that.
I don't know. At any rate, well, this might rectify that. We might get to kind of kill two birds with one stone. So that if we're gonna have to stay for conferences anyways, but because we have to be here till 4:30, the 3:30 to 4:30 part of flipping group maybe might satisfy our spring hour of this. We don't have to do two separate things. No. We have to do it again in the spring.
Yeah, we have to do two of these.
One fall and one spring one. So the hour in the spring, if it's the flipping group one instead, and then we don't leave early on Friday, it can count as
We could
this.
still leave early. We could leave
No.
at 2
No.
instead of 1, because kids get out at 1.
Yeah.
We can still leave at 2 and still,
we
you know,
still
still,
leave.
we could still, that would be okay with me to leave it 2, because we still, if we, you
Well,
know.
but the thing is, the only reason we got the extra comp time was because we were giving her our free hour. Well, now we can't call that our free hour if we want to use it for this. It can't be.
Let's wait for the verdict from Mary Jo first.
Yeah, let's Mary Jo.
Yeah. Why can't we? If this is supposed to be outside of school hours.
If this is supposed to be outside of school hours, but we're getting comped Friday afternoon for staying for flipping group, that won't work.
So this is really sure we had like
Okay, so anyways, that's a concept to consider. But we still have to sit around and for 10 more minutes. What's everybody planning to eat Friday morning?
Lots of good
What
stuff.
gravy should I make?
Yeah, make everything spicy.
What do you guys want for dessert? Definitely making a dessert.
Make
Something holiday related. What's a good holiday?
there you go. You still have to get like $5. I'm trying to figure out what I can do tomorrow.
In class?
Have my kids help me.
Seem turned off. Conversation about tomorrow doesn't need to be on here.
I just mean what
Have
I want to leave out, you know, what I leave out.
Do they have a replacement for you yet?
I don't know. If they have, I'm not sure. I'm hoping that to talk to you so that I can get everybody.
Here's where we're at. Here's where we're going. That'd be nice.
Yeah, she says, I just got home from work for a random doctor. Something about taking care of a family member, so I'm just kind of beside me. He said he was bummed you were leaving. Yeah, I'll find
I also now realize I'm the only male teacher in the semester. I just realized that. I'm like, who do we have? And like, I'm like, nope, Cook's gone. Christensen came in and he left.
I don't know. I'm hoping that
Tomorrow we're going to take the kids outside.
Are you?
I know.
I'm going to bring a bunch of, we're going to do chemical reactions just to do something tomorrow, just so they're not bored. We'll go out and buy a bunch of toilet bowl cleaner. I'm not going to tell them what it is. And a bunch of tinfoil, we're going to make bombs. No, I shouldn't say it like that on this camera, but I mean like, we're going to make chemical reactions.
It's the best seat in the house, right, Mr.
Yeah, not for this conversation. They don't watch. Who watches this?
Anybody that wasn't here?
Well, they know what we're doing tomorrow in science.
Oh my god.
I'll give
We're
you.
gonna do Mythbusters tomorrow.
Yeah,
So
but I won't give them. Yeah, I won't tell them what it is. But I'll give them like the chemical formula for what it is. Like, toilet bowl cleaner. But I'll just like, here's the big strand of compounds and elements. And they'll think it's something really cool. It's really cleans your toilet. And I'll add some aluminum to it. It looks
make sure you let Miss Blanchard know.
well, everyone knows now. But yeah, I'll let them know that I'm
Well, I don't
going
think Miss
outside.
Blanchard will watch that.
Let's hope not. Let's hope nobody watches that.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes,
Oh, wait, Kim. Yo, roommate. Mary. Like I'm not worth it for you to walk all the way
I don't. My mom sent me a text. Call me when you can. I don't know what to do at the airport. I was like, get on the plane. She goes,
Coming here?
not right now, not today. So get on the plane. She goes, but how? I said, is this some type of joke? What is so confusing about that? Like, what do you not? What do you mean? You've been on a plane and you've been to the airport a million times. What? How are you Yeah, that's gonna be really cool. I think that'll be really cool for the kids to see. Definitely not gonna let them touch it or play with it. But I'll take them up to the field and I'll stand back. Little pop bottles like that, or big two-liter bottles are also good. Real loud.
You can always do the Coke bottle things. You know, put a Mento in a...
Oh, yeah.
But I am not.
I'll do more review than it would be.
4 minutes. Not that we're counting or anything. Sorry.
Not anymore. It was really just like order that.
Oh my god, that's
That was the best I could think of to put it. I'll say, whatever way. And like, oh yeah. Yeah, you have to do the Scatterplot and the histogram and the line graph and the 2 times chart whatever it is, I don't even know anymore. I don't even know anymore.
Down here.
What are you doing?
You bring him in here.
Can I hold your
So,
The parents are just
Not that
Well, it was already planned.
oh yeah. I meant school day.
Oh yeah, I mean, because I have to carry it.
How's your 1 hour class?
They were good today.